கேமரா நான் இது பண்ணல. கனெக்ட் ஆயிருக்கு. பட் இதில் நான் க்ளே கேப்சர் இல்லை பண்ணீங்க கேப்சரு வீடியோ கேப்சரில் பண்ணீங்களா கேமரா? ஒரு நிமிஷம் பண்ணுங்கள், ஒரே நிமிஷம் திருப்பி. வீடியோ கேப்சர் சரி, ஓகே சார். Hello, am I audible? Hello, good evening. Am I audible? Audio சொல்றாங்க. Hello, good evening. Am I audible to everyone? Yes. Yes, good evening, Anusha. Good evening. Yes, Gautam. Good evening, everybody. Yes, am I audible? Yes. So, what we saw yesterday is installation process. Today, I will just discuss. So, yesterday, I just gave an introduction to Java. So, what do you mean by Java and what are all the different components and domains of Java? So, everything I was discussing. So, what are all the different domains of Java? So, what we saw yesterday? What we saw yesterday, please respond. Please respond what we saw yesterday. What are the various domains as OOPS concepts? So what are the, so Java is a high level programming language. It is based on the OOPS concept. And what are all the other things we saw yesterday? Please respond. I was discussing with you about the various components of Java. So what are all the different domains of Java? So what are all the different domains of Java? Yes, good evening everybody. So what are all the different components? So what do you mean by JVM? What do you mean by JVM? Java Virtual Machine. Yes. And JDK. So I was discussing with you about different components. So what do you mean by JDK? So Java Development Kit and JRE, that is Java Runtime Environment. So I just gave an introduction to Java. And what are all the different applications? So I was discussing with you about the different applications. So what makes this programming language more efficient? So what are all the different, so why we have to go for this language? So it is platform independent. It can run on any type of operating system. So it can run on Windows operating system, or it can run on Linux. It can run on any type of operating system. Yes, so all these things I was discussing. So today I will just start with the installation. So how to install Java and how to install the JDK. And then I will start with the remaining concepts. So whatever we saw yesterday. So what are all the different applications of Java? So where we can use this language. So it is used in gaming development, website development. Yes. What are all the different domains of Java? So Java Standard Edition, Java Micro Edition, and Java Enterprise Edition. So I was discussing with you about the different domains, that is the different editions of Java. So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. So once you register for the internship, so you'll be getting access to the recorded videos, PPTs, the lecture notes, so how the projects are being developed. So if you want to receive, so the attendance link will be posted during the live chat. So if you want to receive the webinar certificate, you have to pay ₹100 and you have to attend the classes, 25 classes. It is a mandatory one to receive the webinar certificate. And the internship users, they will be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. Alright. So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. So once you register for internship, so you'll be getting access to the lecture notes, PPTs, the recorded videos, how the projects are being developed. So please hurry up for, in order, the internship offer is going to end soon. And you should attend this class for 20 days. Once you are going to attend this master class, so you'll be gaining the core Java concepts. So what are all the different types of operators, variables, data types, and other functionalities. So what are all the different types of functionalities, threading concepts, and I'll be discussing with you about 10 projects. So if you want to receive the certificate, so you have to pay ₹100 in order to receive the webinar certificate. And the internship users, they'll be receiving the internship certificate as well as the webinar certificate. Alright. So let me just start. So yesterday I just gave an introduction to this language. It is an object-oriented programming language developed by Sun Microsystems. Clear? And then I discussed with you about the different domains and the components of Java and what are the different applications, GUI applications and web-based applications. So I discussed with you the IoT applications. So I am going to discuss with you about the installation steps. So if you want to use Java, just Google out. So you go to Google. So I am using Netbeans IDE for my development. So just type Netbeans download. Alright. So you'll be having different versions of Netbeans. So you have to go for the correct version, and Netbeans download for Windows. So I am just giving Netbeans IDE 8.2 download. So it is an open source software. So you can just download this link. There will be a download link, and then you have to follow the procedures. So after downloading, so there will be a download link. You have to click the download button and you have to follow the installation steps. After downloading, so just click. So this is it is an open source software. You can go to Google and you can just type Netbeans IDE and you can just download. So I have already downloaded my Netbeans IDE. So I have already installed my IDE. So it is in my machine. So you'll be getting that is the zipped format file. So you can extract and you can just download the corresponding software. So I have already downloaded by Netbeans. So I am having in my machine. So this is the step. This is how you have to download. And if you want, so before downloading Netbeans, so you have to download the JDK. So you can give JDK download. Just type, so whichever version you want. So I am giving JDK 1.8 download. So you can go to this JDK downloads. Clear? So you can go to this JDK downloads and you can just download the JDK. So 1.8 version. So whichever version you want. So you can just download the JDK version. Clear? So how to just click the download button and you can download and you can use. I have already downloaded my Netbeans and JDK. So if not, this is the step. You have to download your Netbeans and JDK. So you can see here. So after downloading, so this is how it looks like. So you have to double click the JDK jar file. So it will look like this for Windows 64-bit or 32-bit. So you have to double click and you will be getting the pop-up window. Just click the S button. That is, click the S button. You have to follow the instructions and you have to follow the JDK. And in order to use Netbeans, so just double click this Netbeans. So if you want to use this IDE, just double click and you just follow the instructions and the Netbeans software will be installed. Clear with the installation? So how to use this JDK? JDK is nothing but Java development kit. So it contains, so whatever Java coding. So after you have installed, so this is how my IDE looks like. So I am just closing and opening my Netbeans IDE. Just click exit button. So I am just opening again. So I have already installed my Netbeans IDE. So this is how you have to install the Netbeans IDE. Clear? So you have to install. So if you want to double click, so you can just install this Netbeans IDE. Just double click and you can just install. So it is going to take some time. So you are clear, you can just go to Google, you can just type, so whichever it is an open source software, Netbeans or JDK, it is an open source software and you can just download Netbeans. Clear with this? So how to use this IDE? So it is going to take some time in order to load my projects. So JDK is nothing but Java development kit. Say for example, if you want to use, so for doing any kind of Java coding, so you require a JDK and a JRE, that is Java Development Kit and Java Runtime Environment. So it contains the compiler. So whatever Java code you are developing, the IDE, in the Netbeans tool, so you need a JDK. So you have to compile the code. So whatever code you are writing, so you need to check for errors. You need to compile the code and then you need to execute the code. Clear? So you are clear with the installation steps? Just go to Google, just type Netbeans and you just follow. It is an open source software and you just follow the instructions. You download the IDE and you just follow the instructions. Once you double click, you just follow the instructions and you download the JDK and the Netbeans IDE. Clear? My network connection is stable. You are not able to hear me. It's buffering again. Video is buffering. My voice is audible now? Yes? So alright. So this is the installation procedure. So I have just downloaded my Netbeans ID and I have just shown you how to use this ID. So this is the installation procedure. So let me just show you how to use this Netbeans ID. So just go to this Netbeans ID. So it is background scanning for projects. So if you want to develop a new project, just go to File and then there is an option called New Project. Clear? So you have a Java project or Java, you have different types of projects. So Java FX or Java web projects or whatever type of projects for website development. So you have to give the corresponding, you have to choose the corresponding project. So if you want to develop normal Java applications, core Java functionality, so you have to click this Java or Java web. For web-based applications, you have to go for enterprise edition. So whatever functionality, whatever application you want to develop, so you have to choose the corresponding category from this categories menu. Clear? So I am just clicking this Java. So I am just clicking the next button. So whatever project name, so for example, I am giving sample Java project. So whatever name you want. So I am giving as sample Java project. You have to give a project name. So in the corresponding bar, so you just give. So I am just giving as sample Java project. So where you want to place. So all the projects will be placed in the corresponding project location. So you have to provide the correct path. So whatever projects I am developing, so everything will be stored in the corresponding project location. So you can choose, there is a browse option at this site. So you can choose and you can choose your project location. So wherever you want to store your projects, you can choose the corresponding project location. Clear? So you have to give a name to your project and the corresponding project location. And then you have to click the finish button. So it is going to take some time. So a Java project has been a new Java project. You can see here, I have given the name as sample Java project. Clear with this? So how to create a new project in Netbeans IDE? So how to use this IDE? So how to create a new project in Netbeans IDE? So there are different options. So this is how my integrated development environment looks like. So you can see what are the different options that are available here. So you go to File option. There is an option called New Project option. So if you want to develop a new project, just click this New Project option and you give a corresponding project name. So I have given a project name as sample Java project. So whatever is the project name, so you give the corresponding project name. It contains the source packages. So there are two folders under this project. So you have a source packages folder and libraries folder. So whatever coding you want to do, so whatever classes I am creating, so everything you have to create under the source packages folder. And what are the libraries I want to add, so everything you should add under this libraries folder. Clear with this? So it contains two folders, that is source packages folder and libraries folder. Clear? So I have already created one project called Java application 1. So it contains some source packages. So what are all the class files, .java files I am creating, so everything will be stored. So everything will be stored under the source packages folder. Say for example, if I want to create a new .class file, .java file for writing any type of code, so how to create a new .java or class file? Just right click this folder. There is an option called new. So I am creating a new Java class. So I have to give the corresponding, so I am giving as example, sample example or something like that. So I am giving some name. So I am giving as sample example. So I have to give the corresponding class name and in which project. So it is contained inside this Java application 1. So inside my source package, I am creating a new class called sample example. So I have to give the corresponding class name and then I am clicking the finish button. Clear with this? So you can see this is how my project structure. So till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. I am not able to zoom my screen. So this is the max I can do here. So till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. So you are clear with the installation and how to use this IDE. So I just gave an introduction. So how to create a new project in Netbeans IDE and how to create new that is .class files. So just right click. Till this part, everything is clear. Till till this part everything is clear. So whatever I am discussing, so how to, yes, I'll tell you the installation. I am not able to, this is the max I can zoom here. So till this part whatever I am discussing everything is clear. Eclipse ID is different, Bhavya, and Netbeans ID is different. Eclipse is different and Netbeans is different. Alright. So, any more till this part, installation procedure and how to create a new project, everything is clear. So, I have created a new class called sample example. So, my project structure looks like this. A public class has been created. So, public class. So, I am giving the corresponding class name as sample example. Clear? So, I can create. So, inside this, I am creating a main method. So, public static void main. So, I am giving as string of space args. Okay, I am giving a string argument to my main method. So, I am just opening this and I am just printing something. This is my print statement, system.out.println. So, I am giving, so for example, I am giving some message. So, rising sun, something I am giving. Clear? So, I am giving some message. So, I have to save. So, every time I am typing some Java code, so I need to save. There is a save button. So, I need to save this file, .java file or class file. So, I am creating a public class. So, class space, I have to give the corresponding class name and within curly braces. So, I am creating a main method, that is public static void main. So, I am just creating a main method. So, string of space args. So, I am creating a string argument. And inside this, I am printing system.out.println. So, if I want to print something at the console, so I have to give this print statement. So, system.out.println. So, I am giving something, printing something. So, rising sun, this will be printed at the output. So, how to run this file? So, this is how I can create. So, public, this is the access modifier. So, when I am going to discuss with the access modifiers, so I will elaborate this in detail. So, there are different types of access modifiers. So, class. So, if I want to define any kind of class, so I have to use this class keyword space the class name. I am giving as sample example and then I am coming inside. So, the curly brace I am giving as public static void main. So, I am passing a string argument, I am printing something at the output. So, after typing the code, so each and every time you type some code, so you have to click this save icon. So, you have to save this file and you have to right click and there is an option called run file option. Clear? So, you can see my progress, my application is running. So, inside my Java application 1, so my application is running. So, once it is run, so you can see whatever message is inside the system.out.println. So, system, this is an inbuilt. So, if I want to invoke any of the member variables, so I have to use this system. This is an inbuilt package or variable. So, I am using this println member variable. So, I am printing something. So, rising sun. So, this is the command. This is the corresponding statement for printing something at the output. So, if I want to print something, say for example, rising sun, if I want to print something, so this is the corresponding print statement. Clear? So, how to write a simple code? So, I am just telling, so how to write a simple code, Java code. So, whatever I am typing inside this print statement, that is system.out.println, so it will be displayed at my console. A build successful. This is my build is successful and this will be displayed at my output. Clear with this? So, I just developed a simple Java project. So, next I am going to discuss with you about what do you mean by variables. So, I am going to discuss with you about different types of Java concepts. So, what do you mean by variables? So, variables are nothing but they are used to, it is used to allocate some memory. So, variables, they are used to store some values. So, they are used to determine the type of data. So, what type of data? So, whenever I am building some bigger applications, say for example, I am creating some website for an organization. So, I want to store the employee records. Say for example, I need to store the employee ID. So, there are thousands of employees in an organization. So each and every employee, so he is going to have a separate identity or a ID, so whatever you call. So I need to specify the type. So what is the use of these variables? They are used to store some value. They are used to allocate memory. So for example, if I want to store some integer value, so I have to give the corresponding data type. So this is the syntax for creating a variable. So data type space the variable name. Clear? Say for example, in a bigger application when I am developing, so I want to store the records of thousands of employees. So what is the name of an employee? So what is the employee ID? So what is the age of an employee? What is the gender? So in which department he is working? So based on that, I can go for different types, data types, and variables. They are mainly used to store values. They are used to allocate memory. And variable types, they determine the amount of memory required to store that variable. Clear? So what do you mean by this variable? They are mainly used to store values. So this is the syntax for creating a variable. So I have to give the data type and the corresponding variable name. And it is terminated by a semicolon. So this is the syntax for declaring a variable. Clear? So what do you mean by a variable? So mainly they are used to store value. So for whatever may be the type of application we are developing. So firstly we need to initialize the variable and we have to store some values inside the variable. Say for example, I am building some big website application for an organization, or I want to store some students' records or whatever. For example, I am developing a website for a banking sector. So I want to store the employee details, the officer's details, the admin details, the loan officer's details. So everything. So for initializing, for storing values, I require a variable. Clear? So what do you mean by a variable? So just take down this exercise. So write a program that stores a byte value and displays the result to the screen. Just take down this task. Write a program that stores a byte value and displays the result to the screen. Just take down this task. Write a program that stores a byte value and displays the result to the screen. So based on my requirement, so I can change the data type of the variable. So what type of value? Say for example, if I want to store some roll number of a student or the ID of an employee, so I can go for integer data type. Or if I want to store the name of an employee or the age of an, that is the gender of an employee, so I can go for string data type. So I have different data types. Clear? So what do you mean by a variable? So when I am going to discuss with you about the data types, so I will elaborate in detail. So what are the different data types that are available? So this is so I just gave an introduction. So I just started with variables. So next I am going to discuss with you about identifiers. So what do you mean by an identifier? So based on when I am building some bigger applications, say for example, I want to compute the annual salary of an employee. So I am giving a specific identifier, a unique names. So for easier readability, in order to improve the user-friendly features, so I can go for this identifier. So what is the use of this identifiers? They are nothing but unique names. So variables are common names. So for small applications, I can go for variables. So what is the use of identifiers? A specific variable name, a unique name is called as an identifier. So identity, so what is the use of an identity? A label. Say for example, a person, so we have a name is a common. So if I want to identify a particular person, he is having a specific name. So Sam is a specific name. So I am having a specific name. So similarly, what is the use of an identifier? So when building some larger application, say for example, I want to compute the annual salary of an employee. So yearly, what is the salary of each and every employee in a specific department? So I can give an identifier called annual salary. So just by annual sal or whatever may be the case. So just by looking at the variable name, I can identify what type of value that variable is holding. So that is the main use of this identifier, unique names, some specific names. So it can be small names or bigger names. So based on my application, similarly I am developing an application for some insurance industry. So I want to know, so what is the premium rate? So what is the premium rate or what is the insurance policy is about? So it just provides a description about that variable. So what that variable is holding. Say for example, I am giving as premium PR rate. This is an identifier. For easier readability and debugging of the code, we can go for this identifier. So when building some bigger applications, we can go for this identifiers. So for example, total sum. So just by looking at this name, so you can say what type of value it is going to hold. So it is going to hold the total sum value. And I am having a variable name called color identifier. So it just identifies, it holds some color. So you are clear. So what do you mean by a variable and what do you mean by an identifier? So what is the main difference between a variable and an identifier? And what are all the different data types? So we have different data types. So data type specifies the type of value a variable is holding. So I have an integer data type. So whenever I am giving as int, it specifies that it holds an integer value, a whole number value. Or I can go for floating point type. So whenever I am going to go for floating point type, it indicates that it contains a decimal point value. So it is terminated by f. So 10.55f, it is terminated by f. And char. So whenever I want to store some character constant, so I can go for this char data type. And string data type. So for example, if I want to hold some string value, so I can give the data type as string data type. Clear with this? So what is the use of this data type? So it just provides a description. So based on the type of value, say for example, if I want to hold integer value, so I can give the corresponding data type as int. And if I want to store some decimal point value, so I can give the data type as float. And character value. So if I want to store some single character constants, I can go for this char data type or string data type. So basically I have two different data types. So one is a primitive data type and one more is a non-primitive data type. Say for example, so what are the different types of primitive data types? So I can go for byte, short, int, long, float, double. So all this comes under primitive data types. And non-primitive data types, so strings, arrays and classes. So all this comes under non-primitive data types. So let me just show you an example. So what do you mean by a variable and a data type? So let me just show you a simple example. So whenever I want to create any new class, just go to this package, just right click. So I am going for new and there is an option called Java class. So I am going to create a new Java class. So I have to give the corresponding variable name. Say for example, I am giving as sample var. So this is the name of my Java class. So inside this I am coming inside. So public static void main. So I am just creating a main method and I am passing a string argument, string of space args. So inside this I can go for different data types. Say for example int a equal to 10 and I can create some floating point value. Say for example float j equal to 5.5. So I am creating some floating point values. So whatever may be the type, so the floating point values, it should be terminated with an f sign. Or I can go for a character constant. Say for example I have to create some character constant. So char hj equal to, so I am giving some character constant. And string, say for example if I want to store some string variables, I am giving as hello. Clear? So I can go for different types of variables. So I have to, this is the syntax for creating a variable, for initializing a variable. So I have to give the corresponding data type and the variable name and I am assigning with some values, initial values. So if I want to print this at the output, just give the system.out.println. So this is used for printing something to my console. So if I want to print my string value, so I am just giving this sg. So whatever is the string value, this will be displayed at the output. So each and every time you are going to type some Java code, just click the save button, right click and run file. So whatever is stored in the corresponding variable, the string variable, so it should be enclosed within double quotes. So hello, this will be printed at the output. Clear with this? So what is the use of the variables and data types? So all these are the corresponding data types. And this is how you have to initialize a variable and it will be system.out.println. This is used for printing something to my console. So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. So once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the project videos, the lecture videos, PPTs, how the projects are being developed. So you'll be gaining more practical knowledge. So please, if you want to receive the certificate, so you have to pay ₹100 and you have to attend this masterclass for 25 days. And the internship users, they will be receiving the internship certificate as well as the webinar certificate. Alright. So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, so you'll be getting access to the lecture notes, the PPTs, the recorded videos, how the projects are being developed. So you'll be gaining more practical knowledge. So if you want to receive the internship certificate, the webinar certificate, so you have to pay ₹100 and you have to attend this masterclass for 25 days. So each and every day we will be discussing some specific topics. So what are all the different data types, variables available in Java, and what are all the different types of concepts. And finally, I will be discussing with you about some projects. And the internship users, they will be receiving the internship certificate as well as the webinar certificate. Alright. So till this part, whatever I am discussing, everything is clear. So I just started with variables. So how to use this Netbeans IDE, and then I discussed with you about what do you mean by an identifier and what are all the different data types available in Java. So next I am going to discuss, next I am going to discuss with you about, so what is the use of identifiers. Just take down this task. So I was discussing with you about different data types. Write a program that concatenates two strings and displays the result to the screen. Just take down this task. Write a program that concatenates two strings and displays the result to the screen. Just take down this task. Write a program that concatenates two strings and displays the result to the screen. Have you taken down? So next I am going to discuss with you about classes and objects. So as I was telling you, right, so Java is an object-oriented programming language. So hereafter, whatever I am going to discuss with you about this language, so everything is going to be based on classes and objects. So what do you mean by a class and what do you mean by an object? So this is how the project structure looks in Java. So what do you mean by a class? A class is nothing but a template. Basically, it is nothing but an, you can say, a rough outline, something. So from that, a blueprint, from this, we are going to create something. Many instances of this type. It is just, for example, when you want to construct some building, so you want a blueprint, right? Say, for example, how many rooms it should contain. So how many floors it should contain. So where the rooms should be located. So what is the area of the room. So how many square feet it is going to occupy. So all this information I need. So whenever I want to construct something, so it is called as a class. So what do you mean by a class? So it is nothing but a template, a basic template, or you can say an outline or a sketch. Say for example, here person is a class. So the human being or person, so whatever you can say, it is nothing but a class. And what do you mean by object? So what do you mean by an object? So many instances of that type, a person, for example, John is one object and Jesse is one more object. Clear? So many instances of that type, say for example, once I have created a building, so many instances of that type can be created. They are called as objects. So hereafter, whenever I am going to discuss, as I was telling you, right, so Java is based on the OOPS concept, that is object-oriented programming system. So what are all so everything here we are going to talk about, whenever I am going to discuss with you about this language, so everything is going to be based on classes and objects. So first I need to create a class, and and many instances of the type, similar type can be created, they are called as objects. Say for example, person is a class. So he is having some specific behavior, and that is data members, he is going to have some specific characteristics. So each and every person is going to have a name. He is going to have an age. So city, in which city he is in, and gender. So all this are called as data members, attributes or data members, and he is having some behavior. A person can eat, he can sleep, he can drink, he can play, he can walk. So all these are called as methods. So for example, whenever I am having some person, so he is going to have an object or a person. So he is going to have a data member and corresponding methods. Clear? So what do you mean by a member? Data members. So each and how I'm going to identify a specific person. So he is going to have a name, a specific name, or he is going to have an age, a gender. So in which city he is in. So all these are called as data members and the corresponding methods. So what do you mean by a method? The behavior of a person. So what are all the different actions he can perform? So you can consider any example. So what do you mean by a class and an object? For example, I want to construct a hotel or a restaurant, or say for example, I want to construct a temple or whatever. I want to design a factory. So first I need to create a blueprint. And many instances of that similar type can be created. They are called as objects. Clear? So what do you mean by this class and object? So this is one important concept in Java. So each and every language, so whatever construction, whatever coding I am going to do, so everything is enclosed inside a class. So whatever Java coding I am going to do, so everything is enclosed inside a class, and many instances of that type can be created. They are called as objects. Clear? What do you mean by classes and objects? Yes. OOPS is nothing but Banu object-oriented programming systems. So it is based on the OOPS concept. So whatever I am creating, so everything is based on classes and objects. So hereafter I am going to discuss with you about anything. So everything is based on classes and objects. Clear? So what do you mean by a class? This is one important concept. So what do you mean by a class and what do you mean by an object? A class is nothing but an outline. So whenever I want to create something, I want to construct something. So I need an outline, a plan. You can say a plan. Say for example, I want to construct a building. Or say for example, whatever may be the task you want to do. I want to construct a restaurant. I want to construct a temple, a factory. So I need a blueprint. And many instances of that type can be created. They are called as objects. Clear with this? So Java is based on classes and objects. That is the OOPS concept. Object-oriented programming systems. So this is one simple example. So public, so this is the syntax for creating a class. So public, I am going to discuss with the access modifiers later in my chapters. So class, I have to give the corresponding class name. So I am giving person as class, and inside this I am going for a drink method. Say for example, the different actions performed by a person. So I am creating a method called drink method. So I am printing some message drinking milk. And inside the main method, so I am just coming inside the main method, public static void main. So I am passing a string argument. So I am creating an instance of person class. So this is called as an object. So how to declare an object? So person, this is the name of the class. If I want to create some instance of my class, so if I want to access any of the member variables and the corresponding member function, so it can be accessed using the objects. So I have to create an instance of this type. Say for example, the class name space the corresponding instance, that is the object. So new is the keyword. So in order to create a new object of a corresponding class, space the class name. So this is the corresponding member variable. So I am just declaring one variable called string name equal to John. And if I want to print this name at the output, so system.out.println, so I can print this name at the output. And what are all the different actions he can perform? So p1.drink. So using this object, using dot operator, so I am calling the corresponding method. So I am just calling this drink method. So whichever member variables or member functions I have to call, so using dot operator, so I am calling the corresponding member function. So I am just calling this drink function. So whichever member functions I want to access using dot operator, so I am just calling this drink function. So you are clear with this? So this is how a basic Java programming structure looks like this. Say for example, I am just creating a class. So how to create a new Java class? Just right click this. There is a new keyword. So I am just creating. So I am just giving new. So I am just giving as person. So this is one class name. So public class person. Say for example, I am creating some method. Public void drink. Clear? Say for example, I am creating a method inside this class. So I am just creating the system.out.println. Say for example, I am giving drinking water or drinking milk. So whatever the message I want, I can give this. So I am giving as drinking milk. So after doing this, I am creating a main method. So public static. So this is the syntax for creating a main method. Void main. So I am just passing a string argument. So string of space args. So I am just passing a string argument. So I have to create an instance of this class. So person space, I am creating a person. Say for example, PR1. So new keyword is used for creating a new instance of this class. So I am creating a new instance of this person and I want to set a name to this person. Say for example, I am having name. So I am just giving some name. So I am just giving as Sam. I can give this name and using this PR1 dot, I am calling this drink function. So whichever functions I have to call, so I have to call the corresponding function. So I am just calling this drink function. So using, if I want to initialize an class, that is a class variable. So using this object, using dot operator, so I am just calling this drink function. So whichever functions I have to call using dot operator, so I have to call this drink function. So after typing the code, just right click and then you have to click run file. Clear with this? So drinking milk. So whichever function I am calling, so this will be displayed at the output. So a class can have more than one member function. So instead of a single method, so I can have more than one method. Say for example, I want to perform some other functionality. So I am giving as public void. Say for example, eat or walk or whatever I am saying. Say for example, I am giving as walk. So I am giving system dot, so I am giving out dot println. So I am just giving walking slowly. Clear? So I am just giving a message as walking slowly. So whichever member variables I want to access, so you can say instead of drink, so I am calling this walk method. So I have to give the corresponding member function. So you can say method or member function. So each and every time, so I have to click the run button, I am seeing save button and I am going to run this file. Clear with this? So what do you mean by this classes and objects? So this is the syntax for creating a class. So public. So I will discuss with access modifiers later in my classes. So class is the class name, the corresponding class name. So open curly brace. So I am giving some methods. So I am creating a method called drink. So if it is not going to return anything, so I am giving the keyword as void. And then I am creating a main method, public static void main. And I am passing a string argument. So I am passing a string argument. I am creating an instance, an object of my class. So class name space, I have to give the corresponding object. And using this object dot walk. So whichever method I am calling, so that method will be called and it will be displayed at the output. Public, it is an access modifier. Clear? So with this I am just stopping today. Void is the return type of the method. So if it returns something, so I can give the corresponding return type, or void if it does not return anything, so I am giving the, that is the return type as void. So I am creating a string variable, right? So what is the type of value that holds? So I have to give the corresponding data type. Say for example, if I want to store the age value, so I can give age. Say for example, int age equal to, say for example, I can give the age value. So I am giving as 10 years old or something like this. Clear? So with this I am just stopping today. So if you have any doubts, string, whatever value that variable holds, so I have to give the corresponding data type. Say for example, if I want to store a string value, the name value, it is of string type, so I am giving the data type as string. So with this, I am just stopping today. So if you have any doubts, you can just ask me. So any doubts in the topics? So whatever topics I discussed today, everything is clear. So if you have any doubts, you can just ask me. So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the lecture notes, so how the projects are being developed. So you'll be gaining more practical knowledge. So once you attend this masterclass for 30 days, so you'll be getting an idea about the core Java concepts, so how the projects are being developed. So if you want to receive the webinar certificate, so you need to attend this masterclass for 25 days and you have to pay ₹100 in order to receive the webinar certificate. And the internship users, they will be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. Mohammed, I am storing a string variable, right? So just that's why I used string. So whatever type of value that variable holds, I have to give the corresponding data type. So I am giving as, say for example, if I want to hold a string value, so I am giving the corresponding data type. So I am giving as string name equal to Sam. Clear, Mohammed? So main method, so this is the whenever I am invoking the main method, so this is the syntax for using this main method. So everything is passed as string value to this main method. Any more doubts? See, I have created an object. So whenever I want to access any of the methods of my class, I can access this only using the corresponding object. So that is why I told you, right? So hereafter, whenever I am going to speak with this language, so everything is going to be based on classes and objects. So if I want to invoke any of this class variables, so I have to invoke using the corresponding object, any of the member functions. So if I want to invoke, that is the corresponding methods. So I have to invoke using this variable name. So using this object dot, using dot operators, I have to call the corresponding methods. So whenever I want to create new object, memory allocation, so I am using this new keyword. So it allocates memory. For memory allocation, I am using this new keyword. Static, so it is like its value cannot be changed. So once I am giving some string argument, so that is the meaning of static. So here PR1, this is an object. I am creating an object or instance of the type person. Yes, you can get both the output. So if you call, so if you use this, so if you call both these member functions, you can get both these at the output. So you have to call both these member functions. So I am just saving this and I am clicking the right button. Clear? So you can get both these. So you can say walking slowly and drinking milk. So you can get both this at the output. I just showed you an example. If you want, you can just print this. So if I give some system.out.println, so it will be printed. So I just showed you an example how to create the member variables and the corresponding methods. Clear? So you can see I am getting the corresponding member functions, the member variables and the corresponding methods. Rohan, so I got the string output. Sam, I got the string output, right? Yeah, you have to write this. See, inside this class I am creating. So everything should be enclosed inside this class. So I am writing this main method inside this class, public class. So here I am starting. So I am writing this main method, main function inside my class. Sam, yes, I am creating a string variable. So I am creating a variable of string data type. That's it. I am just printing this at the output. See, I have to call this whatever method I have to call. So using this object, using dot operator. So I have to call the corresponding method. So if I want to call this drink method or walk method using dot operator, I have to call the corresponding method. Any more doubts? Yes, you can use Eclipse as well. So if you want to call any of the methods, that is the member using the first, I need to create an object of this class type. So person PR1 equal to new person of. So using this object, so I have to call the corresponding method. That is the member function or the corresponding method. So today I just started with how to install Netbeans and JDK. So I just started with the installation procedure. And then I gave an introduction to what do you mean by variables, what do you mean by identifiers. And then I discussed with you about simple examples and how to create a project in Netbeans IDE, how to use this IDE. And then I discussed with you about classes and objects. As PR1 is the object. So I am just creating an instance of this class type person. So PR1 is an object. So I am creating a person class. So whatever class you want, you can create. So instead of person, so you can create flower class or whatever you want. You can create any class. So I am creating a class called person. So what is the use of objects? So as I was telling you, right? So if I want to access any of the methods of this class, so I have to access using the object. Only using this object, an instance of class, I can access the corresponding methods. Yes, you can go for int return type. So whichever type, if you want to return something, so I can give as int as well. Yes, you can go for int. So whatever return type you want, you can go for the corresponding return type. Yes, Sakshi, you can use int. Keywords are reserved words that are used for some specific purpose. So PR1, so I am just creating, this is an object, I am creating an object of class type person. So if you want to create a class, so using the access modifier, so public, this is the corresponding access modifier, class space, I have to give the corresponding class name. Dilip, this is the person. So for I am creating an instance of class type person. So person space PR1. So object, I am giving new keyword in order to instantiate this class. So this is the static type. So whatever I am giving, it cannot be changed. I am passing string argument. I am passing a string array as an argument to my main method. So I have written this system.out.println only once, right? Yes, you can use int. So if you want to return something, if the method wants to, if you want to return something, so you can go for int as well. So if you don't want to return anything, so you are giving this as void. you are not able to install, if you are having some issues, you can just mail me. Mahidhar, so I am passing everything, so the program execution starts from the main method. So I am passing the argument as a string array. So whatever I am passing, everything is passed as a string array. So I am giving this as string of args. String argument I am passing. Yes, if you want to access any of the member methods, so first you need to create an object of the corresponding class type. System.out.println for displaying something in the console. So this is an inbuilt package. So from this package, I am accessing the member variable. So I am using, if I want to print something at the console, I have to go for this statement. So if I want to print something at the output consoles, I have to go for system.out.println. Return type. So when I am computing something, so what is the use of this method? I am performing some operation. So if it returns something, so I have to give the corresponding return type. Clear? Main method, the program execution starts from the main method. So I am giving static, the value passed inside a main method, it cannot be changed, and I am passing a string array as an argument to my main method. So whenever I am executing any core Java concepts, the program execution starts from the main method. So first I am initializing, first I am creating a public class, and I am creating an object of the corresponding class type. So I am creating an object of this person type. Clear? Yes, the class name should always start with a capital letter. Yes, if you want to return some integer value, so I have to give the int return type. Say for example, I am performing, say for example, I want to add two numbers and I want to return something, so I have to give the return type as int. Here I am just printing something at the console, so I am giving the return type as void. Calling method. Alright. So calling method, so from where I am calling, so this is called as the calling method. For example, this is the calling method. Here the main method is the calling method. So from where I am calling some method, so that is called as a calling method, and this is called as the called method. So drink and walk, this is all these are called methods. I am calling this method from here. So this is the calling method. RG creation. Yes, you can give access modifier. So if I'm going to give something as private, so it can be accessed only within a specific class. So if I want global access, I have to go for this public access modifier. So if I'm giving this method, if I'm marking this method as public, so it can be accessed anywhere inside this entire program. If I'm giving this as private, so it can be accessed only within the specific class where it is declared. Learner, JavaScript for doing some validations. So I can go for JavaScript, and Java for performing the main functionality, business logic, I have to go for Java. Vijay, I am just showing an example. So what is the use of classes and objects? So I am just showing an example. You want me to explain this with int? Alright. Say for example, if I want to return something instead of drink, say for example, I want to return something. I am passing some arguments, or if I want to Say for example, I am giving as int. Say I am performing some addition or subtraction operation, or I am doing something. Say for example, I am declaring two variables, int a equal to 5 and int b equal to 10. And I am declaring some other variable. Say for example, int c. So I am giving as c equal to a plus b. Clear? So what I am trying to do here? So I am going to return c at the output. So c equal to a plus b. So I am returning this c. So this is the use of, so for example, when I am going to call this add method, so I am not having this drink method. So I am calling this add method. Say for example, I am calling this add method. So I am going to get this value will be returned. Clear? So what is the use of this? Someone asked me, right? So you can give this int as the return type. Clear? Why we write Venkatesh PR1? I have to use, I am just initializing, I am creating an object of class type person. Public void. So public is the access modifier, and void is I am not returning anything. You want me to explain Java identifiers with examples? Yes, I will just explain. For example, I am creating a class. Say for example, I can give the corresponding class name. I am giving some class name. Say for example, SAMP identifier. So I am just creating some identifier. Say for example, public static void main. So I am creating a string argument, string of space args. So if I want to create some identifier, say for example, I am giving as tot sum. So I am creating an identifier called total sum. So it is going to contain total sum. And I am going to store some age value or some other value or gender. Say for example, I am going to store some gender, male or female gender. So I am giving as string space, I am giving as gent. So it indicates that it holds a gender. Say I am giving as female. Clear? So this is the use of identifiers. So I am printing something at the console, system.out.println. So I am printing something. Say for example, I am printing this gender at the output. Clear? So this is the use of identifiers. So from the name it indicates what type of value that variable holds. Any more doubts? Class, so this is how. So I am giving class space the correspond. If you want to create a class, just right click this folder. For new, there is a new option and there is an option called Java class. So you have to give the corresponding class name. Any more doubts? Just I am showing some examples. So I am just showing how to create a class. That's it. So drinking, so how to create member methods. So how to access, I am just showing a simple structure of a Java class. Sita, what is your doubt first? Methods. Yeah, I will just explain the method. So just now I showed you one simple example, right? So how to create a method. See, for example, I have created a person. I have created a class called person, right? 1 minute, I am just taking that class, person class. So inside that I have created two methods, right? This is one method. So someone asked me if I want to return some integers, so I have to give the int keyword, and I have created one more method called walk method. So all these are the methods, and this is the member variable. So string name, what is the name of a person, and he can walk or he can eat. So all these are the corresponding actions he can perform. Console, so this is my console, output I am getting here, right? So whatever I am typing, I am getting it in the corresponding console. Varun, I told you, right? So what is the use of methods? So for example, if I want to add something or if I want to print something, so I can go for this methods. Variables, identifiers or unique names given to, for easier identification, I can go for identifiers. Java virtual machine, so it provides an environment. So if I want to execute this Java program, so I require a JVM and a JDK and a JRE. So Java virtual machine, so it is a software instruction. So whatever I am getting some inbuilt methods, so everything is stored in the JVM. It provides an environment for executing my Java programs. Console, so this is my console. You can see here, right? Output. So whatever I am typing something, if I want to print at the console, this is called as the console. The output screen is called as the console. Public class, see, whichever class is marked as public, that is the name of the class, corresponding class name, .java files. String name, see, what data type, string is the data type. So what type of value that variable is holding, so I am giving the corresponding data type. It holds a string value, it is holding a string value, so I am giving the data type, string data type. Yes, method means the function, Pooja, yes. Any more doubts? Yes, if you want to store some students info, so you can see I can create a class called student or person. So what are all the different names I want to store, so I can store. Say for example, instead of a person class, so I can create some class called student class. So here I can create a class called student class. So I can create a student class and whatever I want. Say for example, if I want to store some student information. Say for example, I want to store the student ID. Say for example, I am giving a student ID. Say for example, he is going to have some ID. I am enclosing the some ID I can give. And what is the name of a student? Say for example, he is going to have a name. So I can give the corresponding student names. Say for example, I am giving as some Dilip or some other name. So whatever name I want, I can give here. And what is the gender of a student? Age of a student. Whatever I want, I can store. Clear? So someone asked me, right, so how to give the corresponding values? Student info. Clear? Any more doubts? Yes, you can use Eclipse instead of Netbeans. Alright then. Yes, whatever Shravanti, if I want to store some string values, I am giving the data type as string. So instead of string, if I want to store the integer values, I have to give what type of value that variable holds. I have to give the corresponding data type. All right then. So remaining things we will see tomorrow. Same time, same link. Thank you all.